Well, welcome to the show. Great to be with you. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll get the camera adjusted, and they'll get me adjusted. No chiropractor here, however. Nevertheless, it's great to be with you. So let me just drift over here for a second. All right. Had to turn the mic up. Live radio. We love it. So I'm tooling in to work. Get to Starbucks and walk in. Standing in line, I look up. In the distance, I see the silhouette of, looks like two people I know. I'm thinking, that looks like Richard Passwater and Edward Graham. They're not on the show today. Dr. Lyon's on. Sure enough, it's Edward Graham and Richard Passwater standing there. And I dragged him into the studio with me. How you boys doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
It's great to see you, and you look healthier every time we see you, and congratulations on a remarkable recovery.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'll share something with you in a moment, but I'm happy to see both of you. It was such a pleasure. I looked at I said, wait a minute, they on the show? Did I miss that? I didn't see them on the calendar, on the schedule. And there you are. And I asked them, I invited them in. They have to cut out of here at 10 o'clock. And also in studio is Daniel. Turns out Daniel is a longtime listener of Let's Talk Nutrition. And he has called in numerous times on the show. I don't know if we'll get him on today. We'll have time, but he came by. He has an exercise concept equipment. It's called Mobility Max. That's put into the door frame, and it's a 10-minute home exercise system that he's developed. Apparently, he's having some success with it, and I wanted to see it for myself and give it a try before I brought it on the air and brought Daniel on. So I don't know if I'll get him on today, maybe not, but at least he's in and he's here. And I wanted to reference that in his, what kind of suit? What is that he has on? What is that? It's a musculoskeletal. It looks like a Halloween costume. He's got a lot of courage wearing that thing. I mean, I wouldn't do it, but that's me. Anyway, it's so good to see all of you, and Gary is here, and Stephen is here. So we have a full house.
How you doing today?
I'm good.
Third last show before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I head off to Denver, and I'm going to be with my grandson, his wife,
okay,
and my great-grandson, and my daughter, who just got back from India. And she's going to be there. She lives in Raleigh, but she's there waiting. And then I'll go there tomorrow.
Well, she showed us a picture of some crazy traffic jam that was full of cows.
She showed us. She sent me some photographs. We should put those up. Can you get them off my phone and put them up on the street?
Yeah, I'll do it after we'll come back from the break.
Okay, here's my phone. You know the code to my phone.
What caused the traffic jam? An elephant breaking its toenail?
It was cattle. There were all these cars, buses, and horns, and there's cattle on the highway going to work. Traffic in the morning. Oh my God! I said, "Well, Gary will find them. You can't make it up." And she's been there for 3 weeks. Hasn't consumed any water other than what's in a bottle. No vegetables, because they wash them. And I told her, Richard, to take, she's got a prescription. I got my physician to write her a prescription for antibiotics. Turns out she has some colleagues that also traveled to India and ended up with viruses and parasites, got very sick, and had to come back home. And so my concern and alarm was not, how can I put it, exaggerated. Speaking of traveling, where have you been?
On this trip, I went out to Vancouver, and met with the fine folks at Natural Factors. We were working on a new product out there. And then I flew to the UK and then went on to Denmark. And I rode the train over to Malmö, Sweden, where we had a science conference. And our product BioSil won an award there. It's always like to brag about. And then went to Belgium to the home office.
What was the award?
It was for Editor's Pick. A magazine beauty editor picked BioSil as one of the remarkable beauty products that she saw at the conference.
I take it every day, and I take it, if Gary can get me on camera, what I have here is Medi-C Plus. Remember, you know?
Dr. Gifford Jones.
Dr. Gifford Jones. I have the Medi-C Plus. I do 10 grams a day, and I know you don't recommend it, but I do 4 capsules of BioSil a day, and it's helped me in my recovery. I find it useful for me.
Well, we appreciate the kind words and the confidence taking it. I had a dinner recently with Dr. Gifford Jones.
Tell him I said hello.
And he said to say hello. And
he's a fine man.
I encouraged him to call in.
Absolutely.
He's 93 now, and
yes.
In better shape than I am.
Some of you may remember Dr. Jones. He was a surgeon his whole career. He was one of the best guests I had on this show in 12 years. He had wonderful stories, authentic as they come. He had a heart attack at 78? Was it 70?
He was in his 70s.
70. Then he had. They wanted to do
bypass.
Bypass.
And he had known, he had interviewed
Dr. Pauling.
Dr. Pauling. GIF writes a column that's syndicated throughout Canada. And I think it's in 65 papers or something. And he's sort of like Canada's doctor. And he remembered doing the talk with Pauling and started taking vitamin C and lysine.
Yeah, he did that for 10 years. Or more now. Let's see, 70. I think he was 73 or 78. He's 93 now. So for the last 15 or 20 years. Now, did he recently have a heart attack?
He had a second heart attack this year, but he was back. It was a very mild one, and he was back on his feet in about 2 weeks. It was a quite remarkable recovery for a guy that age.
And but he went against the advice of all his doctors.
He did. He wanted to give a non-invasive treatment a try. He before doing the bypass,
and it worked.
And yes, he had a good 17-year, I think, run between the first and second one, and he made a very good recovery after the second one as well.
Having trouble with my headset here. So I have a lot of respect for him. He was a surgeon, a general surgeon, and one day he was on, and I asked him about hands, a surgeon's hands, and I said, is there any truth to the idea that surgeon has to have good hands? He said, absolutely. He said when he was teaching, he said he could predict which students would be the better surgeons by their hands. And he said there were some who should not have been surgeons because they did not have the hands to do what you need to do. And I asked that question out of naivete. I thought, I'm going to embarrass myself. And it turned out to be, it made me look like a genius, asked a good question, right? Every squirrel gets an acorn once in a while, right? So, he gave a wonderful description and discussion, if you will, about a surgeon's hands and how important the hands are.
He's also a big believer that you have to think what you would do if it was your mother before recommending surgery or not.
Yeah, I miss him. I miss him as a guest. I miss him. I found him to be as authentic as they come and so knowledgeable and wonderful. That's who we have around here on Let's Talk Nutrition.
I'm Joy McCarthy, holistic nutritionist, and I expect more from my multivitamin. I've researched many vitamins, and what's truly different about Every Woman's One Daily from New Chapter is that it's fermented with probiotics and whole foods and gentle even on an empty stomach. Every Woman's One Daily helps you feel good every day, giving you immune, energy, and stress support and nutrients for bone and heart health. You will notice a difference. Every Woman's One Daily recently won the Best Multivitamin Award, and I love that it's non-GMO project verified. Discover the wisdom of nature with New Chapter.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce.
Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Thanks for tuning in today. Gary, can you get me more centered on that camera? Thanks. You want me to move? Okay, there you go. Don't move the camera. How do you unscrew the light bulb? No.
Turn the world the other direction.
Turn your mic on. Turn your mic on.
I was breathing heavy because I was looking for this picture, and I found the picture.
Did you? There it is. There it is. That's a photograph. If you're watching, my daughter going to work in rush hour traffic. That's cattle that you see
Just
on, and then they have it on the high. They're on the highway too.
yes, and there's nobody around them. That's what's there's like
Nobody's hurting them. They're sort of making their way to the office, whatever pasture it is.
Hey, I think that was Steve that just went by.
And then she sent me some photographs, and there was all this traffic. You know, it's 8 cars wide, and in the middle of it are cattle. I said, "What in the world?" She said, "It's so dangerous." She said they drive like crazy, and the cattle's in the middle of all of it. And they're calm. It's the humans that are out of control. Oh my God, you can't make it up. It's so much fun.
I used to do quality assurance for a period in my career, and a colleague of mine went to inspect a couple of plants in India, and the stories he came back with were unbelievable. There was a traffic jam. A guy was riding an elephant, and evidently one of the guys fell off the elephant, and it backed up the traffic. And then he went to one pharmaceutical plant, and they had an old English steam engine out behind, and there were guys in it shoveling coal into the burner, and that's what they were using to generate electricity to run the facility.
Well, it turns out my daughter is a virologist, has her PhD in virology, and she's been in the pharmaceutical industry for about 15 years working for companies. Now she has her own company, and they ask her to consult with them, and she's there in India with this one company inspecting their plant, identifying whatever the quality assurance and quality issues are and manufacturing issues. She knows it all. It's amazing. She's one of the few people in the country that can do what she does in the way at the level she does it. And she tells me these are drug companies now, and so I got to be careful what I say. She. As a PhD, I made a terrible mistake one day. I said, you should be a doctor, an MD. You know how children are. Whatever you say, they do the opposite. No, she didn't want it. No, Dad, I'm not going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a researcher. And so she made a good decision. So now she's on her own and has her own company and consults around the world. Pretty good. And speaking
You raised her well.
Well, I'm a firm believer that children raise their parents. That's what I'm thinking. Ed Graham's here, one of my good friends. I've known Edward now about 10 years or so, and he's always been very kind to me. He and I share a lot of things, personal things, that bond us. And it's always nice to see you, my friend.
Hey, thank you for having on. It's great to have Richard here, and it was his idea to hopefully get a free Starbucks coffee from you this morning, but
good thing I was late getting there. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Yeah, with Natural Factors, things are looking good. Some new products on the horizon that they're working on. So it's all 2018 looking for a great year.
I follow you on Facebook. You have a beautiful wife.
And she loves Facebook.
Right. When she met you, did she not have her prescription lenses in?
That's it. Yeah, I think she was under some kind of influence.
She's beautiful, and you make a lovely couple.
Yeah, she's super. Yeah.
And everybody, I don't mean to embarrass you. Since this is Thanksgiving, and I'm grateful for my friends, I must tell you that to a person, and I don't know how many it's been, nobody has ever said one cross thing about you. Everybody says what a wonderful guy you are, and you are, and how nice you are to everybody. I just thought you'd like to know that the world, in your world, that you work, everybody, to a person, man, more than a few. Edward, Ed's such a good guy, So I don't know what you're doing out there, but
I appreciate that.
People really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much.
And I appreciate both of you and your friendship. You both have been kind to me, and I'm grateful for that. And so has Gary and Stephen. Good guys, man. You got.
Well, we greatly appreciate your friendship. And as you mentioned this morning, this time last year, you didn't know if you were going to make it another Thanksgiving.
I didn't know.
So this Thanksgiving, I think we all have something to be extra thankful for, that you made it through and getting healthier every day. And
you asked me about that this morning, and I don't know if Gary will remind me if I shared this or not. I've met a lot of cancer patients over this past year, and I've met a lot of people affiliated with it in one form or another, and they say, well, you can beat this, you can beat this, you can beat cancer. You come back, I want to give you my take on that, and because I get this question a lot about beating cancer. I have a point of view about it, and I'll share it, because I think there may be some people listening that might find it helpful or useful. I was always uncomfortable with the expression, somebody beat cancer. As I told you, that disease is unforgiving, and I'm not so sure about ever beating it. But when we come back, I'll share that with you. And I thought about it last night at the gym, and I was working out, and I said, this is probably the best Thanksgiving of my life. It's good to be here, man. And then you two birds show up.
Yeah, there you go. Lot to be.
The perfect complement to your beauty regimen? Try Form Essentials Zinnia. The finest of its kind, Zinnia offers twice as much biotin as other formulas, which has proven to unlock the vibrancy in even the dullest of hair, skin, and nails. Zinnia breaks through and rejuvenates cells internally, helping you achieve the allure of effortless beauty. Reviving your hair, skin, and nails has never been easier. This essential blend of biotin, alpha-lipoic, and hyaluronic acid, collagen, and vitamin C creates lasting enhancements to your natural good looks. Don't go on wondering. You're worth the results. This combination of ingredients can only be found in Zinnia. Pamper yourself with a proven bit of affordable luxury and start looking your best. Ask for Zinnia by name at your nearest vitamin retailer to begin your journey to restored nails, head-turning hair, and radiant skin today. For more information, visit formessentials.com.
When your alarm goes off, do you jump out of bed with excitement? Or does it take multiple alarms, a few snooze buttons, or a morning caffeine fix to get you going? These habits and daily stress cause a vicious cycle in which sleep becomes increasingly elusive. In fact, 54% of Americans report struggles to fall or stay asleep. For a better night's rest, look no further than Solace, an all-natural dietary supplement that supports healthy sleep and relaxation, so you get the rest you need to wake up clear-eyed, alert, and ready for the day. Solace has given thousands a better night's rest and the power to take back their mornings while enjoying the day ahead of them. Solace is formulated with non-addictive, scientifically proven, all-natural ingredients that support sleep and relaxation, such as melatonin, tryptophan, and 5-HTP. For more information or to order Solace, visit takesolace.com. Solace, for healthy sleep naturally.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. If the office is listening, they're a little confused as to how did Richard Passwater and Edward Graham. I found them wandering the streets. They were just headed by, and I asked them to stop in. Dr. Lyon's on. They're both with Natural Factors, as fate would have it. And I asked them to stop by and say hello during this Thanksgiving holiday. The office was wondering, what happened? Where's the guest change? I don't know anything about the guest change. And I want to get Dr. Lyon on. Dr. Michael Lyon is a regular guest on Let's Talk Nutrition, and it turns out he's with Natural Factors, so it worked out okay. And we're very fond of Dr. Lyon because he speaks truth to power. He always tells you the truth as he knows it. Tremendous clinical experience, wonderful training and background, has a practice in Canada, has a clinic supported by the government for obese patients, and the only way they get into the clinic is by referral. So he gets all the tough cases. Dr. Lyon, welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. It's great to have you on.
Thanks, Michael. Great to hear your voice.
It's better to hear yours, Dr. Lyon. It turns out two of your colleagues here from Natural Factors, I found them wandering around in Starbucks.
That's great. Hi, Richard. How are you?
Hey, excellent, Dr. Lyon. It's always a pleasure to run into you.
Yeah, good.
I understand that you got a new plane or something?
Well, it was about last May I did, yeah.
Are you not flying your helicopter anymore?
That ended a while ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Actually, I still do flight training for people, but I don't have to get around on it anymore. I've crossed over to the dark side. I'm an airplane pilot now.
Oh, you know Edward Graham?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. Tell them who you are, man.
Yeah, Ed Graham. We've met many times up there, Dr. Lyon. I do the state of Florida for Natural Factors, right?
So by coincidence, I walked into Starbucks and they were there. They're headed out of here. They got to go do a training somewhere or whatever they're up to here in Florida. And I asked them to stop by. I said, Dr. Lyon's going to be on today. So we got 3 people here from Natural Factors.
Excellent.
Yeah, you been okay?
Yeah, I've been fine. It's there's been some pretty hectic things in our clinic here. What we did was we tackled the problem that most of the insurance companies around the world want to ignore, which is obesity. They want to pretend that it's simply a lifestyle choice when in reality, as weight increases and it goes beyond a certain point, it becomes like any chronic disease. A person becomes imprisoned by it. And we were one of the first large clinics in the world to get full funding for the very comprehensive treatment of obesity. And fairly recently, in the last couple of weeks, the validity of our program has been brought into question in the sense that some government regulators have decided that they think that obesity is still just a lifestyle choice. So we had a pretty big fight on our hands, and fortunately, it turned out in our favor, and we've continued to keep our very busy clinic going.
So let me see if I understand that argument that some of these politicians or whoever those people are that we're making, when they say that obesity is a lifestyle choice, what do they exactly mean by that? How is that operationalized?
Well, the problem is that of course everything has choices involved. When you have coronary heart disease, you end up with angina or a blocked artery in your heart. There were choices along the way you made that probably would have had some effect on that. Maybe it was smoking, maybe it was your eating habits, or maybe from lack of exercise, or maybe not taking your blood pressure medication, or whatever it might be. Those things certainly could be called choices, but at the same time, once the disease of coronary heart disease is established, it's not something that we can say, it's your own fault, you should go home and fix it. But the problem is with obesity, that's the bigotry that we face, is that people with obesity that really are struggling with a very complex problem, when a person has gained enough weight that it's really impacting their health. Maybe they've developed type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure, fatty liver. These are the kind of things that don't just go away because you decide one day you're going to smarten up. And it's far more complex than that, and it's something that requires in-depth treatment. It's not something you can just admonish the person, smarten up, or get your act together.
In other words, in other words, if I may, it sounds like shaming and blaming to me. And
exactly.
Like blame the victim. It's your fault. You chose to eat those burgers. You chose to gain the weight. It was always in your control, and you chose. So therefore, we're gonna treat it as a lifestyle issue, and we're not going to help you pay for it or treat you.
Yeah, and the same is reflected in societal attitudes, and in the sense you see things like shows like The Biggest Loser, which is there simply to shame people of size. It doesn't provide a model to help people in any way, because they portray this idea that's very popular, that if you're a person who's very large and has a lot of serious problems, all you need is a personal trainer with a six-pack abs who's willing to yell and scream at you so that you can work out hard enough, and then they can lock you up so you can't eat more than a sparrow's worth of food in a day, and then and then you lose weight, and everybody gets to watch and gawk and ridicule the ones that don't do as well, and so on. And then the one that loses the most weight is somehow rewarded for it, and then oftentimes they're really, really not well when it's all over, and most of them just regain their weight, because that's not an approach that really works.
It doesn't work. Let me ask you, were there any doctors that were making this argument that obesity is a lifestyle issue?
Well, I hate to say it, that the medical profession probably carries the greatest bias or bigotry towards obesity of any identifiable group.
Wow.
More doctors who tend to just wag their fingers at people and say, you go home and lose weight, otherwise I don't want to see you again, or you can't have this operation, or whatever. Now, in some cases, there's safety issues involved in, say, surgery for people of size, but at the same time, there's no leverage in just simply saying, I won't treat you until you're at a certain weight. It doesn't help people.
No.
It just puts them into a state of despair.
It does.
So
you're listening to we're gonna head into some messages, Dr. Lyon. You're listening to Dr. Michael Lyon, who'll be with me for the remainder of the show, and my two pals who I found wandering around in Starbucks, Richard Passwater and Edward Graham from Natural Factors, as it turns out. Want to extend the happy holidays to everybody.
And likewise to each of you guys and your families as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thanks for stopping by today. We'll be right back with Dr. Michael Lyon.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce exclusively on Amazon.com.
Well, welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Dr. Michael Lyon is my guest today. Dr. Lyon is a practicing physician in Canada, has a wonderful clinic. We'll get you to the website. And for the last, 7 or more years on this show, I have featured the health issue of obesity. And I have said on more than a few occasions that, in my opinion, it is one of the major public health issues of the 21st century. Some rank it number one here, at least in the United States. I think in North America, for sure, Canada and the U.S. And I've predicted that one day some president of our country will have to go on national television and address this issue because it's not abating. And the medical complex can't handle it. We're befuddled by it. We're not winning the battle, I can tell you. We're not. We're not winning the war. We may win a few battles here and there. And in my opinion, it's not a coordinated effort. There's no central command. Everybody's sort of out there doing different things, and this diet, this therapy, and it's scattered shot. So there's many issues, but Dr. Lyon has devoted his career to addressing this health issue. And you can hear the passion in his voice when he speaks about it. It's not just a medical issue. This is personal. Dr. Lyon, welcome back. I hope I didn't misrepresent what you're saying or feeling, but that's what I sense.
No, you speak very well, Michael, and you express a lot of the same passion that I do, that this is an issue that we have to talk about with the kind of urgency that people talk about other things that are threatening really the survival of our whole future. And it's something that we have to address in a way that's going to actually provide a path to change. And it isn't just a simplistic approach. It's an approach that you have to realize each person carries different burdens that have kind of led them to the problems that they face with obesity. Doesn't mean that you can't do small things. And that's, part of the problem is that people get this all or nothing mentality about their weight problem and think, well, I've got to lose 100 pounds. Well, what if you just simply didn't gain more weight and, kept from doing that for a while by being a bit more careful? And that's often where people start to find the courage to do a little bit more and a little bit more, and eventually their health can turn right around. So we really help people to embrace the small changes that they can do, where they have the strength to make a small change. And that often gets people a long ways instead of feeling like they have to do it all.
Right. And I use the concept of small wins. I wrote an article or two about the concept of small wins and applied it to a health context. It really is the same thing that you're talking about. Instead of trying to take on the whole problem all at once, which is overwhelming and it creates nothing but anxiety and despair and depression, because you can't climb Mount Everest all at once. It's 1 foot at a time, one step at a time. Simple metaphor, but I'm with you 100%, Dr. Lyon. 877-897-8255 is the number to call. You can speak with Dr. Lyon. Generally, first of all, what's the website that people can go to learn about the clinic, to learn about your program, to learn about you?
Well, our clinic website is MedWeight, like MED weight, body weight, medweight.ca, as in Canada, Canada. So medweight.ca.
Medweight.ca. That gets you to the clinic, right?
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
And last time you were on, you sort of described the program in general. You gave it a name, and I don't remember the exact name you gave it, but you gave it a title, and then you just sketched what the components were. It was like
it's,
intermittent or something. I don't have my notes with me, darn it. I wrote them down, but you described how you're using meals in between, using the PGX and so on.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to actual weight loss and in a medical weight management program, it isn't just weight loss, but certainly people come because they want to lose weight. They need to lose weight. And so weight loss is a very important part of it. It's not that we don't believe in weight loss. We just don't want people to focus on weight loss alone, because if all you do is go and lose weight and you don't change the things that got you there in the first place, you're going to regain your weight. But when it comes to weight loss, there's 1,000 different diets, but when you look at the science, you look at what does research say really works around the world and in clinics of reputation throughout the world, they use an approach which involves replacing meals with meal replacements. And in some clinics, you go on nothing but meal replacements. That's often used for rapid weight loss before surgery, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at something that's more sustainable, that is going to help people stick with it for a long time, what we call a partial meal replacement program is probably the most researched and proven approach to weight loss that there ever has been. A partial meal replacement program.
All right, hold.
It's not like we invented this.
I understand. Hold your thought. It just turns out that Joe, welcome to the show, Joe. It's great to have you on. Can you hang on? Because when we come back at the top of the hour, you're in a particular program right now, and you're losing a lot of weight, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if you're comfortable talking about the approach.
Sure.
Okay.
No problem.
All right. When we come back at the top of the hour, how much weight have you lost so far?
Well, I was 225, almost 229. I'm down to 181.
Okay. Hang tight, and when we come back at the top of the hour, we'll discuss it, and then I'd like to get Dr. Lyon's feedback on it, okay? You comfortable with that? Joe? Did I lose him? I guess I did. Is Dr. Lyon still there? He is. Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, good. We're headed into the top of the hour. When we come back, Dr. Lyon's going to continue talking about the partial meal replacement program and what that is. As he said, he didn't invent it, but he certainly has applied it in a way where he has achieved considerable success and has helped thousands of people, literally, with this challenge. Obesity is not a lifestyle issue. It's far more complicated than that. We'll explain. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Thanks for stopping by. Wardrobe change. Hope you're having a nice pre-Thanksgiving holiday, getting ready. I know that many of you are getting prepared, all the cooking and the baking and this and that and whatnot. My mom would start at least a week out, and that's what I miss a lot during this time of year. Miss my mom's cooking and having her around. Boy, y'all can relate to that, I'm sure. And this is a wonderful time of year. And mindfulness and gratefulness are on my mind right now, especially this year. And it's good for all of us. It's wonderful therapy to be mindful, to live in a mindful way, to be in the moment, and to, of course, you can practice mindful meditation. They're related, but you can also live in mindfulness, with mindfulness, or in a mindful way. They're very much related, where you are actually in the moment, and to appreciate the moment. If you're having an interaction with the person right in front of you at that moment. You know, you've had the experience where you're at a cocktail party or something, and you're talking to somebody, and as they're talking to you, their eyes are flitting around the room looking for other fish to fry. And that you're just a stepping stone to a more important conversation with somebody else. That's not mindfulness. That's rudeness. That's not mutuality. That's insensitivity. And to live in a mindful way makes you the quality of your life. This gets to the notion of wellness and well-being. Gets you to a far better place. And then when you live mindfully, you find yourself really being more attuned to gratefulness. And that's what Thanksgiving is about, being grateful. And believe you me, I am thankful. This is probably the best Thanksgiving of my life, because last year at this time, I didn't know if I was going to be here for this Thanksgiving. I had never been in that position in my life. And it's been cosmically humbling. So that's why this is a special Thanksgiving for me. And I hope it's a special one for you too. We all have memories of loved ones who are gone and passed and whatnot. And, but, you know, to remember them and to honor them is the expression of gratitude for what they gave you, whether they be your parents or somebody close to you, your teacher, whomever. Whether they're here or not, we can still be grateful. And so that's what's on my mind this holiday season, Gary.
Well, now you get to make memories with Noah.
Yes.
I mean, I was going through the phone. I almost started crying.
Did you see him?
Because of the pictures.
Isn't he something?
Yes. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, you know, with the holidays coming up, everybody has that little special. And I was just thinking my little boy.
Right.
And my little girl and everything. And
that's what it's about, right? Yes. And you're grateful. Uh-huh. And Noah's my great-grandson. And it took me a long time to even say that out loud, let alone in public. I am so vain. Nobody calls me grandpa. I said that you can call me anything you all want, but we'll have none of that around the house. Of course, I was tongue in cheek, and when I have guests such as Lyon, Dr. Lyon, I've met Dr. Lyon on a couple occasions. I wish I could tell you that I knew him very, very, very well, and I was one of his closest friends. I'm not. I would love to be. My relationship with him has mostly been on air. And it's funny what you learn about people. Even though this is mediated communication, there's a piece of technology that comes between you and the other. When you do this show, for as long as I've done it, I get insight into people. They don't realize how revelatory they become when they get on a radio and start talking. And Dr. Lyon, I mean, he knows whatever there is to know technically. But that's not the thing that's of interest here and importance. It's the humanity, the empathy, the compassion. Every patient is looking for a doctor who cares. What I said to my doctors, my team of doctors that saved my life, I said, thank you for your care, But thank you I said it to each and every one of them. Thank you for your care. But more importantly, thank you for caring about me. And that's what I've picked up with Dr. Lyon as he's been on the show now a number of times. Soft-spoken, understated, but has plenty to say, and you can learn a lot from him. So that's why we're happy to have him. And he's one of the leading, in my opinion, one of the leading experts in the world on weight loss. And as fate would have it, we have a caller whose name is Joseph. He's been a long-time listener for the show, has been on a particular weight loss program. I'm going to have him share on air with Dr. Lyon what he's been doing, and then have Dr. Lyon react to that. So Joe's agreed to doing that. Joe's a wonderful man and a good sport. Dr. Lyon, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you on again. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Yeah.
So Joseph is a longtime listener of the show, and he's on this weight loss program. I'm going to have him describe the program to you, and then I'll have you react to it, okay? Is that okay with you?
Great. That sounds great.
All right. Hi, Joseph. Welcome back.
Okay, doctor.
How many weeks ago did you start?
I started this program 36. I'm on the 36th day. It's a 44-day program.
34. Okay, so a little better than a month.
Correct.
And how much did you weigh at the start of the program?
At the start of the program, I was 208, 202.
202.
Yeah, 202. I lost, in 36 days on this program, I lost 22 pounds. But prior to that, doctor, I was trying on my own to lose weight, and I had lost an additional 20. I was total of 48 pounds total right now. I'm down 48 pounds on this program and before the program.
Okay, but with the program itself, you've lost 22 pounds. How much with the program now? And I'm not going to ask you who the doctor is or the name of the program. I don't want to do that.
Correct.
On average, with the program, how much weight were you losing per day or per week?
I would say per day, sometimes it'd be a pound, sometimes it'd be a half a pound.
A pound to a half a pound a day?
Yeah, or maybe a little bit more sometimes.
Sometimes.
It varies.
Okay. Next question. What were you eating, and how many calories were you restricted to each day?
I was eating three times a day, twice a day actually. I was doing no dairy, no oils, no grains, strictly protein, vegetables, and fruit.
Okay. How many calories a day were you allotted?
800 calories a day.
Oh, mother of God. 800. My cats eat more than that.
And plenty of water, doctor. I was drinking at least half my body weight.
Okay. Any medications?
No medications at all.
Any dietary supplements?
Supplements, yes.
What were the supplements?
There were like 3 different supplements.
What were they? Do you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, one was Hydro Vesi is for minerals. Another one was for
was there a multi in there?
Hydration.
Hydration. Okay. Was there a multiple vitamin and mineral in there?
There was a liquid. One was an advanced liver support, and one was a Meg B's, B vitamin.
All right. So is there anything else about the program you could share with Dr. Lyon and me and the audience? Anything else?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, I mean in terms of how to do it, any of the elements.
How to do the program?
Yeah. All right. Well, we have the basics, right?
Pardon me?
We have the basics, right?
Yes.
Okay. When we come back, I'm going to have Dr. Lyon evaluate and react to that program and see what his take is. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Don't hang up. So we'll come back. Dr. Michael Lyon will address the program and see what I'm anxious to see what his thoughts are. You are listening to Let's Talk Nutrition, coast to coast and globally.
Almost 52% of men experience erectile dysfunction and benign prostatic hyperplasia. If you've had challenges with virility, sexual health, or low energy, Body Vigor's Alpha Extension may be the answer for you. Body Vigor's Alpha Extension can help revitalize your alpha male and extend your love. Our formula is one of the highest quality nutraceuticals available, formulated to support the processes involved in promoting a healthy male sex drive, energy, and stamina. Alpha Extension has 2 powerful herbal blends, Virilla Max, which focuses on male sexual health, and T-Pump Activator, which helps balance your testosterone levels. Revitalize your alpha male with Body Vigor's Alpha Extension, exclusively available on Amazon.com.
Nutrition. Very interesting moment here on the show. As fate would have it, we have the broadcast gods are very kind to me. Dr. Michael Lyon is on. Dr. Michael Lyon is one of the world's leading experts in weight loss. I don't say that gratuitously or for out of hyperbolically or any other way. I mean what I say what I mean. He knows what he's doing. and has a wonderful clinic in Canada. You can go to medweight.ca for Canada and check out the clinic. They see hundreds of obese patients a day, and so he's been dealing with this a long time. Joe, who is a regular listener of Let's Talk Nutrition, has been for many years, has been on this particular weight loss program. I just had him describe the program, at least sketch it, and now I'm going to have Dr. Lyon respond to it. Dr. Lyon, welcome back. Your response to that particular approach?
Sure, Michael. Well, it's first of all, we tend not to be that directive when it comes to diets. If people are on a diet and it's reasonable and it's working for them, we don't go in and say, "Oh, stop the diet." In his case, I would say the diet is not. It's not a terrible diet. It's a diet that's a little lower in calories than I would want to see a man on, in the sense that a pound a day of weight loss is probably meaning that he's going to end up losing quite a bit of muscle mass through the process, and it's not the kind of weight loss you want, and you don't really have a way of determining that very easily. There are body composition devices and things, but unless he gets an actual DEXA scan before and after, it's really hard to follow the loss of muscle mass. But there will be loss of muscle with a program like that, 800 calories a day in a man who's losing half a pound to a pound a day. That means probably quite a bit of muscle mass loss before the time, before it's all done. So that'd be one caution. And the other is, when you lose weight that rapidly, there is a point where your body says, okay, I've had enough. It may not happen until you've lost the weight and, say, some months have gone by, but at a certain point, it tends to be more likely to trigger a rebound in weight regain. We deal with a lot of people that go to medically supervised programs or have gone to them in the past and are often on diets as low as 600 calories a day, and I would say it's almost guaranteed those people are going to regain their weight.
Why does that happen biologically? Why it may take a week, it may take weeks, it may take a couple of months or whatever. There'll be this trigger rebound or a weight regain. Why biologically does that happen? Because you put the body in starvation mode?
Well, when you start approaching starvation, anything that's close to starvation, 800 calories isn't too far away now from where your body starts to perceive starvation. What happens is your body will protect you from excessive hunger for a while because you make a lot of ketones, and those ketones tend to suppress appetite. It's probably a way your body protects you. Like, say if you were starving, if there was not enough food, the worst thing that would happen is if you felt like just covering your head with a blanket and lying still. You're better off to be released from hunger for a while so you can go around and look for food. So you're not just completely preoccupied with just the agony of starvation. So when you're starving for a while, you don't really feel much hunger. Even if you're fasting, many years ago when I was quite a zealous health explorer, you might say, I went on a 21-day water fast. Crazy, but I didn't do anything but drink water for 21 days.
Oh, my goodness.
I lost a lot of weight. I lost a lot of muscle, lost some hair that never came back. But in the end, it took me a while before my stomach would accommodate it. But within about 6 months, wow, I had an appetite like a wolf, and I ended up regaining close to 100 pounds
oh my goodness
over the next year. It was amazing how my appetite finally kicked in. So when you are in a starvation state or near starvation state, you don't tend to feel terribly hungry after a while. But once the diet is over and you go back to a more normal eating pattern, there are hormones that trigger hunger that start to rise to very, very high levels, and they continue to stay high for a long, long time, maybe forever. We don't know. So we tend to be a little cautious with diets that are that aggressive, although at the same time, losing that amount of weight and and getting into a place where you're in a healthier weight, it's a good thing.
So if he were to walk into your clinic right now, given what he's on this program, how would you approach this issue with Joe? What would you do to fold him into your program?
Well, I might just have him add a little bit of healthy oils to bump his calories up by 200 or 300 calories a day, and leave it the way it is because it's working for him. Eating a lot of vegetables, eating some lean meat's great, but maybe adding some healthy oils and fats.
Would you
calories up a little bit?
Would you use the partial meal replacement concept with him?
Well, I may or may not. I mean, again, I would say if it's working for him, he's on a roll. You don't want to stop the momentum, but he's the person that really needs a lot of help for maintenance, because 6 months out from this diet, he's going to start to struggle, and he might, end up having a big meal. Like maybe holidays will come and he'll have a big meal, and then the stomach says, "Hey, I want to eat like that more. That was good." And then your appetite hormones start to surge like a storm through your brain, and it's really hard not to regain weight. So he needs a lot of help with weight maintenance. I think he's done a great job, and we might give him a little help to tune the diet up a little bit, but I'd say I wouldn't really monkey with success in the sense that the weight loss is working, and I'd be more inclined to help him
very
really
reasonable.
Focus on, really, you're going to have to hold your ground with a lot of effort once this is done.
This has been very instructive. Joe, don't hang up. We're all learning from this. This is great.
Women who are pregnant or planning to have a child have specific nutritional needs. Maintaining optimal nutritional intake is important for mother and baby. Body Vigor's Preferred Prenatal can help mother and baby receive the appropriate building blocks for growth, development, and healthy function. The Preferred Prenatal formula provides essential vitamins and minerals, along with added support ingredients such as folic acid and DHA. Preferred Prenatal also incorporates a bonus herbal blend to help the mom-to-be with the uncomfortable side effects of pregnancy, like nausea, vomiting, mood swings, and uterine health. Support a healthy pregnancy for you and your baby with Preferred Prenatal, exclusively on Amazon.com.
Down a bit for tomorrow to 40%, still mostly cloudy. Back up for Thanksgiving, 70% and upper 70s. Wall Street today, Dow currently up 157, 23,587.
Let's Talk Nutrition is brought to you by Now Foods. Our products work. American Biotech Labs, your daily immune system support. Renew Life, the digestive care company. Country Life, a leader and authority in natural health and nutrition. Enzymedica, the enzyme experts. North American Urban Spice, the only oregano oil you can take on a daily basis. Let's Talk Nutrition on the web at letstalknutrition.com. We're back from the break, so let's rejoin Dr. Michael Garko.
Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. You caught a good guest today, boy, Dr. Michael Lyon. And this was spontaneous, and it. We have an actual person, Joseph, whom I know, a regular listener of the show for years, on this weight loss program. He's lost a tremendous amount of weight, and I had him describe it, just sketch it, and then Dr. Lyon responded. You notice Dr. Lyon's approach. He didn't trash the whole concept. He said he's on a roll, we'll maintain what he's got, make some adjustments, but he is concerned about maybe 6 months out, might start to struggle when appetite hormones kick in. So, Joseph, you heard Dr. Lyon's commentary or critique. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I want to thank Dr. Lyons for the education and the evaluation on my program. He's right. I have lost some muscle mass, not much. I've lost some, but my blood work, I was concerned about my blood work, and it just came back. I had it done on the 14th, and I mean, it's amazing. My cholesterol, my HDL, my LDL,
everything got
all into the normal.
All went into line. What do you make of that, Dr. Lyon?
Yeah, I would say, if he had type 2 diabetes, he'd probably be in remission now. I mean, we see limitless in that kind of weight loss, and I'd encourage him highly. Hang in there. Maybe do a little weight training to help to reduce the muscle mass loss, and again, I wouldn't discourage him from what he's doing. I'd just say make sure that you're aware that when the weight loss is over, everything's not all fixed. It's really the rest of your life that's going to be where the focus has to remain. You've got to be willing to make the hard choices when it comes to portion control and really catching the weight regain when it's small rather than letting it get out of hand. Even like say you gain 5 pounds, go back and lose those.
Dr. Lyons, I just want to say in this program, after the 44 days, there's like a 21-day transition where you start building calories, not to exceed 2,800 calories right now, which I never did. But there is a challenge, and it shows you how to work on and add more calories to your diet. And definitely, I'm going back into the gym. That's a plus, definitely.
Yeah. But
my goal was to get down to 175.
Okay, good. But do you notice Dr. Lyon's approach? Dr. Lyon's approach. He thinks that you maintain essentially the principles that you're using, and you can go back and listen to the show again or watch it, Joseph, and pick up some of the nuances of what he was saying. His concern is 6 months out. That you might have an episode where these hormones kick in, your appetite hormones kick in, and you do this. He did allude to a trigger for a rebound or a weight regain. You just have to be mindful of that and keep that in mind. And go to his website for the clinic, medweight.ca, and they discuss the partial meal replacement. That's that PGX product, and the shakes and whatnot.
Sure, I know that product.
Yeah, and I know you're familiar with it. And Joseph, I want to thank you so much for allowing us to do that. I mean, that you're a real sport, and it turned out you benefited from it. And I learned a lot, and I'm sure the audience did as well.
Well, Doc, before I get off, I want to wish you and your family safe and healthy Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much. You're a kind man, and I'm forever grateful for your support and for not just your listenership. You're just a good person, and we appreciate you.
Look forward to seeing you in December.
All right, December 7th. As a matter of fact, I'll be appearing at the Vitamin Discount Center in South Tampa between 12 and 2. I'm delighted to do it, and they have me back out again in public. I'm fit for public consumption again, and so I'm looking forward to it. And I'll look for you then, Joseph, if I can recognize you.
Doc. No problem.
If I can recognize you.
We love you.
Love you more, pal. Take care. Thank you so much. So, Dr. Lyon, that's why we do the show. See, it's about, compassion and empathy, right?
Yeah, I think, he's doing a wonderful thing. It's something that could very well extend his whole lifespan and add many, many years of good health to his life by losing that kind of weight. In the long term, it's just important to get in the mindset that this is a long-term battle. The struggle may not come 6 months later. It might come 2 years later, 3 years later. All of us who struggle with our weight will face a time where, for whatever reason, the body says, I want that weight back. Mm-hmm. Because the weight that is your maximum ever, the heaviest you've ever been, that's what your body considers your normal weight, and it never forgets. Mm-hmm. So it's really important that people realize that the struggle or, the things you've done to get your weight down, it's such a hard work to get there that you don't want to give that up without a real fight.
Sure.
Really work at it forever.
Could you explain to the listener and the viewer a little bit more about the partial meal replacement concept or principle and how PGX fits into that, and how people listening and watching could maybe start to practice some rendition or variation or version of that concept?
Yeah, and again, I would say that it's not the only way to lose weight, but if you look at the scientific literature, you look at meal replacements, they really do stand their ground when it comes to evidence for success. If you're to take 100 people and you try every different diet under the sun to help people to lose weight, a partial meal replacement diet would come out probably on the top for the majority of people. It doesn't mean that there aren't other diets that can work, like the diet that Joseph's on is a diet that can work, there's no doubt. Cutting the carbs out and getting the calories way down, people are going to lose weight, there's no doubt. But it can be a little complicated, and it can be hard for some people. Not everybody wants to have a diet that's that heavy in meat and so on.
In other words, there are some people out there that like eat meat with their meat, huh?
Yeah, exactly. But it isn't a diet for everybody, and it's something that, it's certainly there's expense involved and not much meat and vegetables and so on. But when it comes to a simple approach that's nutritionally sound, that's going to be effective for even resistant weight loss seekers, people who have a hard time losing weight, following a partial meal replacement program can really work. It means that for typically 2 meals a day, you use a meal replacement, or what would be in the U.S., they're often just referred to as weight loss beverages or weight loss drinks.
Okay, we'll pick that up when we come back into this last segment. PGX is on the menu.
Everyone's rate.
Are your joints feeling out of date and stiff? Is that old sports injury flaring up? Is your body aching from the daily wear and tear at work? Body Vigor's Joint Ready keeps you at the ready for any joint pain that gets out of line. Unfortunately, as we age, joint pain becomes more common. Body Vigor's Joint Ready can help provide relief so you can continue to go about your day. Our formula contains sulfated forms of glucosamine and chondroitin. Studies show that these sulfated forms are more effective than regular glucosamine bound to hydrochloride. Joint Ready promotes a healthy inflammatory response, facilitates cartilage synthesis, and provides additional antioxidants. Keep your joints at the ready with Body Vigor's Joint Ready, exclusively on Amazon.com.
Okay, this is a simple LTN health question for the day. I asked Dr. Lyon to give a name to the program that they use in his clinic in Canada. And I'll give you two choices. And this is easy. Is it called the Full Meal Replacement Program or the Partial Meal Replacement Program? What's the name of Dr. Lyon's program in Canada that they use in the clinic to help obese patients manage weight and keep it off? Is it called the Full Meal Replacement Program or the Partial Meal Replacement Program? Here's the number to call to win the $25 supplement gift card with the right answer.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255. I have a question for Dr. Lyon about cravings.
Go ahead.
What's one of the best ways to curb the cravings? Like I crave sweets at a certain part of the day. And it's weird, it's at a certain part of the day.
Probably in the evening after you had your dinner.
Yes. How did you know?
Go ahead, Dr. Lyon. Tell him how I knew. Dr. Lyon.
Sure. This is of course probably one of the most important and common questions we get asked every day. And essentially the answer is that we teach people eating strategies to achieve and maintain a feeling of satiety, which is a feeling of satisfaction. There's really four parts to that. One is you do what you can to get people off the blood sugar roller coaster, because when you monitor people's blood sugar closely enough who are struggling with their weight, you find blood sugar will go up and down throughout the day like a roller coaster. And when blood sugar begins to drop, it doesn't even have to be hypoglycemia before you start to feel that urgent desire to eat, especially for something with carbohydrate or sweet. And so if you can flatten out that blood sugar curve throughout the day, that makes a huge difference.
How do you do that?
Well, choosing foods that are lower glycemic index, meaning that they don't spike the blood sugar as much. Of course, sugary foods, sugary drinks, but also virtually any starchy food will spike the blood sugar to some extent. So reducing the amount of starchy foods and limiting those starchy foods to small portions of foods that are more slowly digested. So very whole grain products. And when I say whole grain, I mean even the grain itself is whole. So rather than even whole wheat flour, for instance, to eat the whole wheat berry in certain dishes. And that's true for, some foods, that's the way you always eat the grain, like rice, brown rice, of course. You don't
So would eating a baked sweet potato be a bad idea?
No, it's all about the dose. So when it comes to carbohydrate, everybody has a different sensitivity to carbohydrates. You can say most people who are struggling with their weight, especially if they have diabetes or pre-diabetes, they need to cut back on their carbohydrates in their diet. They need to cut back considerably. Doesn't necessarily mean they have to be on a truly low-carb diet. A low-carb ketogenic diet is the most extreme form, but they do need to cut back on the quantity of carbohydrates.
Even the complex carbs from vegetables.
Even the complex carbs, yeah, because they're not necessarily digested that much differently. When we say complex carbs, you might refer to any starch, but some starches are digested quicker than
others.
So,
very good. It's a very good point.
Cutting back on carbs, adding bulk or volume to the diet. So that's by eating lots of vegetables, high fiber foods. Adding PGX to the diet is a big one for our clinic. When you add 5 grams of PGX in any form to the meal, you're adding 1 quart of stomach volume to the stomach without any additional calories, because that 5 grams of PGX will absorb and create a stable gel with 1 liter or 1 quart of water.
What about those patients that will experience a little bit of gastrointestinal distress with PGX? Should they start a little slower in amount?
Start a little slower and gradually increase. Take a probiotic with the PGX. That's often helpful. People do get used to it. We almost have nobody that can't within a reasonable amount of time, eventually take the full amount of PGX, which for weight loss is 5 grams with each meal. So that could be when they're on the partial meal replacement diet, they're having Slim Style's weight loss drink with PGX. That's the protein meal replacement. It contains the PGX, and they have that for usually breakfast and lunch, and then for the evening meal, they'll make a smaller meal with portion control. The other thing about eating to achieve and maintain satiety or a sense of fullness is to make sure you have protein throughout the day. It isn't important that you have enough protein so much as it's important that you have that protein evenly spaced throughout the day. So getting plenty of protein, getting it throughout the day, helps to offset appetite. So when you get that urgent crave to eat something sweet, maybe try something like a small piece of cheese instead, or a small handful of nuts, instead of what your brain is saying, which is eat or drink something sweet. So really the 4 things to achieve and maintain satiety are: get off the blood sugar roller coaster by eating lower glycemic foods and reducing the amount of carbohydrates in the diet, increasing the volume and the fiber in the diet so your stomach feels fuller with less food, less calories, that is, and that includes adding PGX to every meal in any form, but try to get 5 grams with every meal.
Okay. Number 3?
Weight loss. And then number 3 is to add protein throughout the day. So make sure you have your protein throughout the day.
And number 4?
Number 4, I think, didn't we say? So glycemic index,
yes,
volumetric, protein, and, what am I missing?
So low glycemic foods, increase the amount of fiber, include protein throughout the day. That's 3.
And eating mindfully. So you, just make sure that you don't just gobble down your food.
Okay.
Savor it.
Gotcha. I don't mean to cut you off, but I got to take this call. Hold on. Let's go to number 3. Who is that? What's the answer?
I think it's the partial meal.
Congratulations. What's your first name?
Lynn, Lynn.
Congratulations. Happy Thanksgiving, Lynn. I'm sorry I'm rushing. We're almost out of time. But you got the right answer. Congratulations. Thank you. Dr. Lyon, thank you. I could do another hour with you easy. I'll be in touch with you to talk about what we talked about before. Take care.